Welcome back to the Fruitful Three Show, where where we dive into deep controversies and work together to grow stronger. I'm your host, Isaiah, and Levi Kelowitz. It should have been we're your host, but I said I'm. And today we're talking about something that's been on my mind for a while. Societal change. Last week we touched up on how DMX recognized these societal change, and it's been making me think more about the forces that bind us. Today's episode is all about identifying these chains and figuring out how can we break free. So let's kick this off. First things first, merch. That's in the merch store. I didn't write anything. But winter time's coming. We got plenty of hoodies. We got long sleeves. Ice Entertainment now has a stocking cap or a beanie, however you want to call it. And yeah, we are set for the winter time. So go check it out. You got a recap, buddy.
Sweet. So our weekly recap. So in sports, there is a rumor going around after Rashee Rice got injured on Sunday that Tyreek Hill might be getting traded back to Kansas City and joining Patrick Mahomes.
Can't deal with Tua's too many concussions anymore.
I don't know. He's in the last, where are we at? 4 games now? And the last 4 games, he's only had over one game with 100 receiving yards.
That happens.
So, yeah.
That happens.
But yeah, there's also a rumor going around that Devontae Adams wants out of the Raiders. So that is another possibility. Like I said, that's just the rumor mill going around. As we talked about a couple weeks ago, we talked about AI. Recently this week, I saw a video, and it might be old news, but I saw a video that dealt with AI, and they were college students that were sleeping in classes. There were college students that were falling asleep in class and not paying attention, and professors are starting to get really annoyed with this situation because there's an app out there that records the lectures and takes notes for you and so on and so forth. So now none of these kids are paying attention in class. They're just letting the AI do everything for them. That was one of the videos I saw this past week, and I was like, that's kind of a sad state of reality we are in right now. The other thing is, as we were talking last week on music and everything, Theory of a Dead Man has officially released a country song. That was 4 days ago, I think it was. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting too. It's called Living My Life Like a Country Song. So that was we're talking about how artists blend things together, and genres are kind of all blending together nowadays. And that made me think of that one. The other one is kind of deals with before we get into this, because this is kind of the pivotal deal into kind of the turning point into our segment. You said there was a lady out there who debunked or tried to debunk me on Sympathy of the Devil.
For the Devil.
By
the Rolling Stones.
So you want to kind of address that situation?
I mean, it's a short of Levi explaining what he's done his research on, and she didn't want to believe it, so I sent her the link of the website, and got nada, bro. Also, if you really want to know about shorts, we're kind of blowing up on the DMX scene, and I put it in Yonkers, so yeah, that's our most popular video, or most popular short right now is DMX. They community has been really, really respectful about that, and I appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you.
Also, since you mentioned DMX, this made me think of this, but I read an article earlier this week. No offense to the Swifties out there, I'm not trying to start drama, but I read an article about how Taylor's new album has a lot of satanic lyrics in it, which I'm not saying they are or they're not, but one of the lyrics is like, nobody can save you, I'm the only, like, I would raise from the dead or something like that to save you or something.
Yeah, people's been questioning her music for years, so this whole satanic thing for Taylor Swift is not new.
Oh, it's not, I know, but we're just on the Satan rock.
There's also a theory out there, because there's this really popular satanic worshiper that was like a prophet basically for Satan, and was trying to force her things. Well, she died, and then Taylor Swift was like born the same year and looks exactly like her. She likes snakes, and then one chick likes snakes. Yeah. So there's that.
So now moving into our topic, here's a short story that kind of goes along with this. So we're talking about societal chains and everything, kind of like societal chains, societal norms, stuff like that.
Slaves to society.
Yep. So earlier this week, I had a conflict at work that I'm not going to go into detail because I don't really want anybody out there to... All right. So back to my story here, which I don't want to get into like full details just because of the fact that I enjoy my job and
HR
and it kind of got brought up to the CEO of what I was doing, so I'm kind of walking on thin ice here. Long story short is a farmer brought up a situation that was going on, and I should say it, not just a farmer, but multiple farmers brought up a situation, and I took it upon myself to look into it and address it, and I started asking questions.
Curiosity killed the cat, buddy.
It did. Curiosity killed the cat. And their basically response was, don't, like, that. Basically, their response was, you stay out of it. This is, like, you don't worry about it. You're down here to do a certain job. Focus on your job and let everybody else handle it. Don't worry about other things. Don't do this. They basically, like, and then they referred me to another coworker who shows up to work and goes home and locks himself in his room and play video games, and they said, why can't you be more like him? And basically he's just a robot. He shows up to work, does what he's told, goes home and plays video games, and they told me that I needed to be more like him. And
so I'm not trying to get you fired or anything, but that sounds like a lot of them covering up the fact of basically poisoning our food. You know, that sounds a lot like that, or poisoning our crops. And farmers may now be recognizing it because of social media.
And it wasn't dealing with like chemicals or anything like that, but
it makes you question.
Yeah. So I was basically told to, here's your box, live inside your box.
When they teach you in school to be outside your box, but yet they're still putting you in a box in school and then trying to put you in a box in society.
Yeah. And I really wanted to go off because
it's against your beliefs.
Yeah, it's against who I am and what I believe in, but at the same time is knowing how high up the chain it went, because my name got brought up to the CEO of our business. So I decided to take my lecture and not say anything, and I figured I would follow my guidelines.
Do you really want to follow your guidelines though? Like, here's the point though. right? Like, you show the determination, right, to the CEO, and you prove to the CEO that, like, A, I'm serious about this, then either A, yes, you'll get fired, or B, they will start respecting you a lot more. So you take it how you want it, bro. I keep fighting it because, stand up for what you believe in.
Exactly. But at the same time, I have a wife and a daughter at home that I am responsible to provide for. And with that being said
then you trust in the Lord your God, bro.
I do.
Then take you pray on it and take the leap of faith if you got to take the leap of faith.
I'm kind of at the point I'm kind of letting everything cool down.
Mm.
And if I still feel a certain way after everything settles, I will bring it up, but I will do it probably a lot more professionally than
just put your resignation in. Just got the paper, just bam, write a short little essay in there, of why you're leaving. Just walk out.
Yeah. So that was kind of where and that's, like I said, we're gonna talk about societal chains, but one of the societal chains, or one of your modern day norms, is they want people to just live inside of a box and do as they're told, and don't think of it outside. Don't
question society. Don't question this.
Don't question this. Don't question that. And like back in the day, they were trying to make you think of different things or this and that, and they wanted to hear from people.
I wonder, since you brought that up, a couple years ago, I actually drew a graph of a box and what was inside the box and what was outside the box. And it was basically just my philosophy of the box.
Yeah.
But it went way beyond, because I did a lot of thinking on that. I wonder if I still have it. I might just post it on social media.
If you do, drop it in the comments or the link or whatever below.
Well, I'll just do it on social media.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah, I'll just take a picture, bro. I wonder if I still have it. But anyway, do you have another story, or is that just...
Nope, that was kind of my transition into this segment, because, like I said, we're talking about social norms, and they don't really want you to
think outside the box when they tell you to think outside the box.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's get into it. What do I mean by societal chains? We often think of freedom as doing what we want, working a job, living our lives, partying, drinking, watching TV, and more.
Wow, what does this guy resemble?
Pretty much every American today. But is that true freedom? Or are we just trading one form of slavery for another? Which is something that was brought up during the Civil War. I'll just quickly get into it because I'll forget about it. During the Civil War, they had slavery, and was trying to end it, right?
Yeah.
Well, this genius Democrat, I shouldn't say Democrat, he transitioned into a Democrat, but there is two different...
Oh, I was going to say, are you talking about Lyndon B. Johnson?
I don't know. Oh. I don't remember the name. But anyway, he came up with this bright idea of, hey, let's trade that slavery for the 40-hour week slavery, or whatever it was at the time. And that's where the Industrial Revolution took place. That was how it was born, so you're welcome. These chains may not be physical, but they can control us just as much, if not more. Consider the 9-to-5 grind. How many of us feel trapped in a job that doesn't allow us to grow or follow our passion?
Wow, I told you this was gonna transition.
We clock in, we clock out, and for what? The promise of stability, the promise of money. The truth is, these jobs can be more of a chain than the means of freedom. The inflexible schedules, wasting times in pointless meetings, and trying to stand out in an office that doesn't even value you. It takes a toll. Stagnation of wages is real. The longer you stay, the harder it gets to keep up with inflation. Alternatives like freelancing, entrepreneurship, or following your own path can be liberating, but only if you're willing to take the leap of faith.
So you talked about inflation, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of your jobs nowadays use raises to keep you around, and they offer you raises, but in reality, let's say you get a 4% raise, the economy is going up 4%. So in all reality, you are not making any more money than what you should be making. And that is just the business owners, or I don't really want to say business owners because there are some business owners that really actually care about you. But that is kind of a social norm that has happened today, is a lot of your corporations, let's go corporations, have done that. I'd say corporate America, not, because a lot of your small town businesses try to take care of their employees.
You actually know them a little bit.
Yeah.
Now I got something. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is mine. Now I got something to admit. I once wrote a song about this. True fact. About being trapped by these societal chains. But I never released it. Why? Because I fell back into the same habits I was trying to break free from. But now I've grown, and I think the time is right for me to talk about it. Because I have been working on breaking these chains. That's why I drew the graph a long time ago. Well, a couple years ago. Yes, I've actually wrote like 5 versions of this song, because every time I'm just like, yeah, nope, and nope. Trash it, bro. Because I don't think I'm writing like what I really want to write about, you know? And then I find myself falling in the same direction as I was before, the old me.
So a very realistic visualization for this is, if anybody has seen the movie Matrix, would honestly, like, I understand that's entertainment and everything, but if you want to try to get like a realistic visual of kind of what we mean by this, that movie explains it so well.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually like a tons of movies. They subtly drop bombs, bro, that are like, holy cow. I mean, I watched what really got me thinking was watching that the documentary. It's on Max if you're interested. It's about DMX. It's basically his end career of what he did from 2018 to 2021 or something like that. Yeah, he passed in 2021, right? Yeah. So it was like, it really took place kind of in like 2018, but it kind of like what he said kind of just in my mind, just kind of like, wow, bro, wow. You know, it's a great documentary. I recommend it.
And there's
highly recommended that.
While you're talking about documentaries and stuff, there is a Jim Carrey documentary, and you're talking about like poisoning plants and so on and so forth, right? Earlier. So this is just kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but Jim Carrey actually in like 94, I believe it was, he did an interview about vaccines and food poisoning, and higher ups are trying to put stuff in food that is not natural for your body.
Well, in 1985, Philip Morris, right? The cigarette company. Philip something. They bought food companies, and then in the 90s, early 90s, another tobacco company bought Kraft and some other food company, and they're more contagious now than what they were. So, I mean, pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, that was just kind of a rabbit hole that we went down. But you were talking about a DMX documentary.
Yeah.
And how it was realistic.
Yeah, it's like really opened up my eyes, bro.
Yep.
Moving on, the societal changes we face today aren't new. They've been talked about for centuries. If you look in the Bible, they're in the Bible, bro. Like, that's crazy. even in ancient texts. In fact, there are several lists that deal with the chains of society. Ever heard of the 7 social sins or the 7 pillars of society, or maybe the 7 mountain mandate? Have you? Have you?
I've heard of the 7 deadly sins.
Ah, goodness. Just one.
So this here is another rabbit hole, but you're talking about ancient text, right? So there is in Egyptian documents, they actually have documented that Israel not having a king, and that actually translates over to
The Bible.
Saying
in those
times, which is really crazy to think about when you talk about ancient texts. But moving back on to topic. Your 7 social sins include things like the politics of fear, hate, or exclusion, the abuse of creation, and perpetuating. There we go. Perpetuating ignorance. These are the chains that bind us as a society. They keep us divided, distracted, and stuck in cycles of fear and hatred. All right, so it's
basically what the government does nowadays.
I was going to say, we just recently went through, on this very topic, how do I want to word that? We went through something like this a few years ago, and that is COVID. We just recently went through something that deals on this topic. COVID. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a medic or anything. So personally, I don't know how severe this disease really, or this virus really was. But I do know that there was a lot of people that survived it. I do know that they forced vaccines, even though it really didn't need a vaccine. But yeah, they
force a lot of vaccines that you don't need.
Yeah,
for profit. So
yeah, like why do babies get hepatitis B vaccines the day they're born?
Exactly.
But that, like I said, I don't know the medical reasoning behind that. I'm pretty sure I could do some research and figure it out. But so like I said, COVID was a big one that struck a lot of fear in America, and it kind of gave government a lot of power.
I mean, and they're doing it more and more. They saw their success and they're just copying it. And it's kind of like, I see it a lot more now. And I just kind of laugh at it. It's just like, I stopped watching the news. I stopped watching the weather. Well, yeah, I really don't watch the weather because the weather's wrong half the time. Majority of the time.
Let's put it this way. The weatherman is the most accurate person on TV right now.
Huh? He's the only one that has a job that can mess up and still have a job.
That's politics, man.
Well, I guess politics too. I mean, I will give credit to New York, because if they said it's going to rain at 2 o'clock, by golly, it's going to rain at 2 o'clock. Okay?
But I'm saying is if you really, there's always a saying that's gone around that's very, I don't know if I quoted it right, but it says the weatherman is the closest thing to the truth than anything else, which if you really look at society these days, the weatherman is probably more accurate than, because if you think about it, you look at we're going to go back to like divided or politics wise, you're going to go like Democrat, Republic, and you're going to battle each other out, right? So with that being said, is they're going to try to do whatever they can to make themselves look good and you look bad, while the weatherman's just there trying to predict the weather.
Well, they were a lot more accurate when they sent a balloon up there, okay? Instead of putting satellites, bro. Like, oh yeah, it's going to rain here in 15 minutes. Where the rain at?
Another thing is, you mentioned distracted in here, the whole P. Diddy thing.
Yeah.
What are they trying to cover up with the P. Diddy thing?
That they fired a bunch of CEOs. or that they peacefully resigned, something like that. There's. Did I send you the video or did you send me the video?
I don't remember, but
Yeah, well, yeah. The bunch of CEOs of some company silently resigned.
I sent you that video. Yeah,
You sent me the video. Okay.
yeah, but yeah, that's another thing is like they tried to find ways to. I mean, even back in the days, like the gladiator days of Rome,
Yeah.
they would have the gladiator
The Colosseum.
the college. There we go. And they'd have everybody go to the Coliseum while the big political head honchos are secretly having a meeting while everybody is distracted and entertained.
Mm-hmm. Which is what happened to the fall of Rome because they were distracted by the Colosseum. Also, it happened recently with Trump, too, because every time Trump got convicted of something was the same day that the Democrats did something in office. That was big. And no one talked about it because, guess what? Trump was all over the news. Take your poison, I guess. I really don't care.
Yep, that's why I said it's however which side of the fence you're on. We're trying to stay as mutual as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also really, really crazy how you look at things in the world and how certain things are trying to keep you. Like we mentioned COVID keeping you in fear, or we mentioned like P. Diddy, the stuff going on with P. Diddy. What is that trying to distract you from?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's
everyone has an agenda.
Or like being divided is, I mean, politics is a big one of trying to keep people divided for votes.
And I've noticed now, like, everybody has an agenda, you know?
Yep.
Like, they're your friend because they want something, bro. Like, gotta be watching for them snakes, bro.
Yep.
The 7 pillars of society, on the other hand, give us something to strive for. Truth, honor, righteousness, wisdom. Imagine a society that valued those qualities over money and power. We'd be living in a different world. Basically, philosophy.
When you look at the history of time, we probably weren't 100% perfect on this, but we actually did have a country that followed these values and tried to put together, I mean, the best country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their values. That's why they wrote the Constitution. That's why they wrote the Declaration of Independence. Now, I guarantee you they're rolling in their graves.
On the 7 Mountain Mandate, since you don't know what it is, it breaks down the core aspects of our society: family, education, media, government, and more, and challenges us to influence these spheres positively.
Positively. So with that being said, is like you look at like education nowadays, it's a broken system. Media, obviously, as it tries to keep you living in fear. Government, they abuse their power.
And
family, honestly, families are getting a lot of broken families now because
shoulder to shoulder.
Yep. You're doing a lot of shoulder to shoulder relationships instead of face to face relationships. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. We don't have time for that. But
we got plenty of time.
Oh yeah, plenty of time.
We got plenty of time, bro. Basically, shoulder to shoulder is you getting home watching TV. Like you're instead of interacting, you are doing something that's not productive. Like right now, you see this? We're not talking to each other. We're watching the TV screen, getting influenced by what the Hollywood's telling us, bro, what media is telling us, and what the government is telling us. It can ruin a relationship by slowly pulling us apart, you know? So you got to have that face-to-face.
I was going to say the other thing, too, is family time is another deal, or another thing with family is the fact that nowadays, with inflation and everything that's going on in our economy right now, there's a lot of parents working 2 jobs trying to provide for their family.
Mm.
And when you take parents out of the picture, that leaves someone else raising your kids, which is going back to like the government and education system abusing power
and media.
And yeah, so that's the other thing is they're trying to pull us away from our families and have them raise their kids because they don't want the kids to think outside the box, as we were talking about earlier.
Even though I was thinking about this earlier this week, literally all through school, they taught me to think outside the box while they're forcing us to think inside the box. Thinking outside the box in school, you got a talking to, because I thought outside the box one time. I got a talking to for thinking too far outside the box, because I figured out a way to solve a mathematical equation without using the method the teacher was teaching us. And it wasn't even in the mathematical books, okay? I figured it out, and I had the right answer, and I didn't cheat. I can tell you that much. I know I did it hand for hand because I know for a fact I did that one. So, yeah. So the truth is, society has created change to keep us stuck in cycles of consumption, fear, and ignorance, but we have the power to break them. We just need to recognize them for what they are. Also, I have something else to add on that. So, I don't really talk much about my diet, basically, that I do like a cut season and a bulk season, right? And I just got back on bulk, right? I've noticed, because like bulk, I'm able to eat whatever I want. I've noticed that adding more carbs and like seed oils to my diet, that I'm a lot aggressive, And I see that a lot more in people. People that actually like fast are like really nice people that cut back on what they eat and stuff. But people that eat a lot and eat like the American standard diet have a lot more attitude problems. And I was talking to my coworker. His girlfriend watches My 600-Pound Life, and he was telling me about how all these patients, they get angry real quickly about because you got to change your lifestyle. And it's like the more you eat, the more you get bigger, the more angry you get. That's just my theory. I would throw that out there. That's food for thought.
Oh, good.
Oh, that was.
I was gonna bounce off of that too. Is like with all the stuff that they put in our foods today. If you actually, I realize it's expensive because we are starting to do it in our house now too. Because my wife has diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And she's been trying to, I'll be honest, there's times where she does really, really good with it and maintain it. And then there's times where she slacks on it. And I also, as a husband, I fail her because I let her do it. So I will.
This is just my theory. Well, and other people have bounced off of this, is allow yourself a cheat day. Or two. When I am in cutting phase, I allow myself 2 cheat days, which is normally the weekend, and I allow that, and then it's a reward system, so you can focus more during the week to keep that cut going.
But the other thing too is what I was trying to get onto with like the whole foods is they put so much
additives
into our foods, and if you realize, like, there's times where people will eat something and they feel bloated and they can't lose the weight and this and that. It's because your body doesn't know how to naturally digest it. So your body is kind of like in a spaz attack in a sense.
Well, toxins normally released through pee, poop, puke, and precipitation, which is sweat. And people that, like, when I'm in cut season, I barely sweat. But when I'm in bulk season, I sweat a lot, bro. I sweat real easy. Just food for thought there, too. I got more about that in the third segment. So are you done with segment 2? Or Okay, so let's talk about some specific societal change, like alcohol, drugs, and even the influence of Hollywood or media or, whatever you want to call it. Starting with alcohol, did you know that excessive drinking can severely impact your brain, heart, liver, and immune system? We like to think that it is as a way to unwind or have fun, but the truth is, it's another chain. Alcohol messes with our brain's communication pathways, causing mood swings, impaired thinking, and risky behavior. Long term, it leads to heart disease, liver damage, and even cancer.
So let me break this off here. With that being said, it has actually been proven that if you drink one beer a day, it actually so one beer a day contains enough alcohol to clean out your kidneys and prevent kidney stones. Now,
that says excessive drinking.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is the problem with that is no one can honestly contain themselves to one drink because,
typically, you're either an alcoholic or you're a social drinker.
What is the difference between a social drinker and an alcoholic?
An alcoholic has no control over drinking. That's my definition. A social drinker is someone that, like, I'm with you and we're talking, communicating, and we have a beer and, it's balanced out, And while we're socializing, and you may finish it, and I may finish mine at a different time, or maybe I'll be like, I'll catch up with him so he doesn't get too drunk, or same level, that's social drinking.
So by definition, a social drinker is a person who has one beer.
One or two.
No. One beer per hour because they're out.
Well, I guess you really only hang out with someone for like 2 hours.
Yeah. Your body digests alcohol by the hour. So you have one beer or one alcoholic drink per hour because one beer, one shot, one glass of wine at the end of the day somehow magically contains the same amount of alcohol, which I've never figured out the math on that. But somehow maths itself out. But yeah, if that's the case, a lot of people think social drinker is someone who goes out and say you don't drink all week or this and that, and you go out with your friends on a Saturday night and you go clubbing or partying it up or whatever, and you have several drinks and you just kind of indulge, and then you go a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and do it all over again. No, that is not the definition of a social drinker.
Drugs are another change. The health consequences of drug addiction are serious. Lung and heart disease, mental health issues, and even the spread of infectious disease like HIV. Drug use changes you. Not just physically, but mentally. It becomes another trap, another form of bondage. Yeah, you got anything to add to that?
So, I don't really have anything to add to this. There's one thing for me personally, before we even get into like the sex topic here, right? I'll be honest, I've struggled with alcohol. I won't really say I had an alcohol abuse problem.
But like found yourself at the bottom of the bottle?
Yep. Until I actually started getting educated on this topic, I considered myself a social drinker, which would go out, like the definition I used of going out with buddies on a Friday or Saturday night, going out, hanging out at the bar,
getting drunk,
and then just like not worry about it. And then a couple weeks later, go do it. Well, but if you actually start to notice like your habits or what causes you, like a lot of your addictions all starts with something. It could be stress. It could be self-motivation. It could be...
Which is a chain that you gotta break.
Exactly.
Gotta lift those up like weights, bro. Just gotta crawl them until they're good, bro.
And yeah, I'll be honest, the next topic here, I have a I've been trying to break this chain too.
So yes, the next topic is sex, and more specifically self-pleasure. If you have too much sex, obviously there's issues, but when I was trying to find research, it gave me just a bunch of health benefits to sex, which is fine.
Okay, so I was told this by a doctor, and by a doctor, so I am going off of his information, and I don't know if it is 100% credible, but with the fact of him being a doctor, I am going to take it as a credible source. But he said that the average male should be having sex 3 times a day.
I thought it was 3 times a week.
Is it 3 times a week?
I thought
it is 3.
Yeah, I thought it was 3 times a week.
He told me 3 times. I thought he...
I swear, I saw something like this last week while doing research that it was 3 times a week. That was the typical, I guess that is for my age group. You're different because you're older. But for my age group, it's 3 times a week, bro.
20 to 30-year-olds. So this is according to the AI generator on Google. So I don't know how
it gives you sources if you go down, like right there, you see those are all your sources.
Yeah. So it says on average, a 20 to 30-year-old should have sex twice a week, while a 40 to 50-year-old should have sex once a week.
Okay, so that's close to the same thing. Mine breaks it down from 21 to 25, which was 3 times a week. No, 18 to 25. Yeah, 18 to 25, which was 3 times a week. 26 to 30 something, and that was like 2 times a week. So
and it says a good married couple can have sex 12 to 14 times a week.
It's a lot of sex.
Apparently your relationship is really strong.
You wake up, have sex. Go to bed, have sex. So self-pleasure, this is mainly on self-pleasure. Life force depletion. Masturbation wastes life force energy, referred to as yin in an ancient philosophy. Each ejaculation depletes essential nutrients and energy meant for creating life and powering personal growth, hindering spiritual and physical potential, which is true because you lose testosterone and other nutritions that are as healthy for the female body. No, I'm kidding. Impact on physical and mental health. Frequent ejaculation lowers testosterone, as I just mentioned, desensitizes dopamine receptors, and can cause erectile dysfunction, limiting motivation, pleasure, and brain function. Semen retention, by contrast, is said to enhance energy, mental clarity, and physical performance. That's also true. That's why if you pay attention to bodybuilders, they will actually stop having sex for 3 months before a competition. That's why they are so strong, is they have that mental power, bro. Ancient practices for energy retention. Techniques like tantric sex or testicular breathing help retain and circulate sexual energy, potentially leading to increased spiritual awakening, enhanced vitality, and more intense full-body orgasms.
Spiritual and emotional consequences. Masturbation drains energy necessary for spiritual growth and deeper emotional connections. Retaining sexual energy is viewed as a path to personal mastery, increased charisma, and achieving higher consciousness.
That is, the reason for that is it's a waste of time, pretty much. Instead of doing that, you could be studying like the Bible or the Quran or whatever religion you believe in. You could also be meditating, going for a walk, running, working out. Working out's actually better for you because it burns more calories and burns more calories after working out. than what sex does. So, challenge to transform. The speaker encourages a 30-day abstinence challenge, promising heightened awareness, improved productivity, deeper connection, and spiritual empowerment as rewards for resisting immediate gratification and redirecting energy towards long-term goals. That was pretty much what I was talking about earlier. The reward system is just hacking it. Also, if you want to know a little thing I've learned, the power of threes, bro.
Are we talking about Charmed?
No. So the power of threes are spiritual numbers. They can both represent angels and demons. That's why there's the Holy Spirit, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The threes it takes 3 weeks or 21 days for you to build a habit. It takes 3 months or 90 days, about 90 days, for you to build a lifestyle. And then there's a bunch of other threes because of the powers of threes, like Charmed.
Sorry, you mentioned that, and that was the first show that popped into my head.
Before I interrupted you, you had something you would have.
Oh, I was gonna start reading the next one, but you were talking about like challenges and everything. So I know for a fact that there is a local pastor in our area, and I don't know if he openly speaks on this topic or if this is just a private conversation, but I know of a local pastor who was addicted to porn, and he would get up there on Sunday mornings and preach the gospel, and by Sunday night he was jerking one out to good old porn. You're like over here.
Well, I'm trying to get the answer, because I think I know the answer, but I'm trying to figure out the answer by pointing in a direction of the answer.
Oh, with that being said, is
he has yeah.
He actually found a way to break that chain, and I don't actually remember how he broke it because that conversation happened, I don't know, probably about 3 years ago. Yeah, it's amazing of how you can be a person in power. I won't really say power, but you can, how do I word this? You can be a person who preaches one thing and then looks like you're hypocritical the next.
I mean, well, even if you read like the book of Paul's books, letters, I should say.
Yeah.
He actually does struggle with lust too, and he speaks it in one of his letters.
I was gonna say that kind of brings up our next topic is good old fashioned Hollywood.
Oh, I did want to mention one thing.
Okay.
So back to last time when I thought of something, I figured something out, like thought of something. So we've all done it, right? We've all been there with the self-pleasure BS, right? Well, I noticed during cut season, I build testosterone. I don't have a problem quitting, it's fine. Don't have a problem at all, But now that I'm back up on carbs because of, the body's trying to release toxins and stuff, I'm kind of wondering if that doesn't have a direct play with like mental, because of all the additives that they add, because, the devil's been on this earth long enough. He could have, figured out a way, because, his superpower in the Bible was food. Bro, he tempted everybody with food. If he couldn't tempt you with the first thing, he tempted you with food. Adam and Eve. He tried to tempt Jesus with a loaf of bread, bro. So he probably figured out a way of how to get additives in it that made you more receptible. Yeah, is that the right?
I think that's the. You think that's the word?
I think maybe you can correct me in the comments below, but I think he figured out a way to make you receptible to sin, basically. So that's just another food for thought, another thing I saw. So Levi, continue.
Oh, I was gonna say, so that moves on to our next point, which is good old fashioned Hollywood. The culture of idol worship. It's so easy to get caught up in what celebrities are doing, what they're wearing, and what they're saying. But is this really living? The Bible warns us about idolatry in multiple places. Exodus 24 verse 5 through 4 through 5. Sorry, I can't talk now. Galatians 5 verse 19 through 21 and more. Following Hollywood culture can become a chain if we let it distract us from what really matters in life, our own purpose, growth, and faith. This is a big one nowadays because
Hollywood influences literally everything.
you can look anywhere. So we're talking about like sex and all drugs and alcohol, and you can look anywhere in Hollywood and you're gonna see it. And now there are more shows out there that are influencing nudity.
Actually, they took away a lot of nudity.
Did they?
Yeah.
As I say,
Because of the Me Too movement, there's a lot of actresses that won't show nudity.
I was gonna say one of the biggest ones in recent years was Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That was really heavily on nudity. But yeah, you look anywhere. I mean, you can go back to, I mean, even growing up, you had Dukes of Hazzard with good old Daisy Duke in her short shorts and running moonshine and staying away from the law.
Oh no.
Law. Like, personally, I've struggled with the whole lust thing. I still struggle with it to this day. I still struggle every now and then with the alcohol one. I've gotten that one more under control. Speaking from personal experience, I can tell you, if you deal with multiple addictions, or I don't even know if they're multiple addictions, but multiple chains, like, or bad habits, when you break one bad habit, the other bad habit gets stronger.
Yep. You trade one addiction for another addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that your little spiel for the next transition? Yeah. Okay, I was putting that together. So how do we break free from these chains? The answer lies in going within. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. You've got to confront your inner demons, those fears, anxieties, and bad habits that you hold back. It's not easy. Jesus even warned us in his parable in Matthew 12:42-45 that when you drive out an unclean spirit, it doesn't just leave. It tries to come back, bringing even worse spirits with it, a legion, as they call it, or 7 deadly spirit or demons. That's why we need to be vigilant in our growth.
Vigilant.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Gotcha.
Yep. You got me. You caught me, bro.
Got you covered.
You caught me. In our growth, continually working on ourselves and not leaving space for those old habits to creep back in. Yeah, so honestly, how I broke mine was pretty much from that Bible verse right there. Facing your demons, I know it's a challenge. I know people warn you to not go in deep into your mind because it can cause anxiety, stress, and everything else. But like, you gotta go in it and actually fix it. You know, you will have to take steps backwards before you take steps forwards.
So, one, this is like basic stuff they teach you on like AA type thing, is acknowledge you have a problem is number one. I mean, I'll be honest, I've never been to AA, but I've been to probation where they've sent me to recovery program type stuff, and they're all kind of similar because I've talked to other people who were in AA at the time and they were in the recovery program with me. But one, you have to acknowledge that you have a problem and admit that you have a problem. Secondly, you have to figure out what triggers you. Is
stress, anxiety.
Yeah, it's stress, anxiety, depression,
loneliness,
What triggers you to have these thoughts or have this thing, and then when you go down that hole, you have a tendency of relapsing.
Yeah, well,
or not relapsing, but either getting an addiction or relapsing. So you have to understand.
also like with Matthew 12:42-45. So I try to cold turkey everything, all my bad habits at once. And I was doing good for a good while until, temptation crept back in, and I fell with one. And guess what? It was a domino effect, and I fell with all the other ones. And it just, like, when I read that passage, bro, I was like, man, I did it, because I was just forced. Instead of facing it, I was forcing it out of my mind, right? Like, it wasn't there no more. It didn't exist, bro. And that was the thing. And I started cleaning and tidying up. Well, Demon came back in and brought some friends, bro. And I was like, they kicked back on the sofa, had themselves a little cold one, cracked a cold one, started watching TV, and the rest. And I challenged it for a little bit after that, and kind of figured it out, kind of made my own boundaries.
And that goes back to like Hollywood and your media, and I mean, because anywhere you look today, majority of your women out there are promoting like OnlyFans. I don't know how popular that is anymore, but I do know that was popular a couple years ago, and it's still, from what I've seen on social media, it's still very popular. You have anything like all you're trying to do is keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians, however you want to word that. But a lot of things is I've learned, and I've talked to a lot of people, is the reason they do OnlyFans or the reason they become like a stripper or sex worker or whatever that case may be is self-confidence. They don't have enough self-confidence, so they do it, and when they start getting thrown money and getting the attention and so on and so forth,
you get all what you want at once, and it goes to your head. Makes you a big ego. Also be careful with who you choose as friends, because that was part of my issue, was my friend group at the time.
See, so this, I was just talking about this with a friend the other day. I made the comment of, I'm not going to stop hanging out with my friends because of who they are. And the reason I say that is you can give me all the backlash in the world and I don't care. But the reason I say that is because, one, Jesus never hung out with the popular kids. Jesus never hung out with the high and mighty righteous people. So, yes, it takes a lot more
patience,
and it takes a lot more.
You got to build boundaries.
And I will be honest with you here. I have actually preached the gospel in a strip club before, which a lot of people are going to give me backlash for this. And personally, I could care less, because here's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I will probably sometime throughout that night, I will fall into temptation, and I will admit it, because it's really hard not to. But one, I'm there supporting a friend, and two, I guarantee you Jesus would do the same thing. Because those were the type of people he wanted. And three, if I get to a point where I can resist that and still hold a conversation without the temptation being there, with it sitting in front of me, that only makes me a stronger person.
Bam.
So that is...
So breaking free is about reclaiming your mind, your health, and your life from the forces that seek to control you. It's about chasing your passion, following your dreams, and building a life of purpose. Sorry, I went really Randy Macho Man over here. Got the 80s cocaine in my veins, bro. Free from chains of a 9-to-5, from substances that dull your mind and from the false idols of Hollywood. You got anything you'd like to add there?
No, I was just gonna say is like you're talking about your 9 to 5 chains. I'm not gonna sit here and say every job is the greatest. There are jobs out there that absolutely suck.
If you love what you do, keep doing it.
Exactly. And I've noticed recently after I stopped going to bars and everything else, which I still do occasionally, but I have
drinking.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be honest. Every time I put on a military uniform, I'm pretty much an alcoholic. There's a lot of
politics.
There's a lot of stress in that, and that is one of the key things that causes me to relapse. But I have noticed that staying out of bars, doing this, like my attitude has gotten a lot better. Like, there are a lot of people who hate their job, hate their life, and they're just drowning their sorrows away at the bottom of a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, that's not helping you solve anything.
You're not actually facing your demons. You're just running from them.
And so with that being said, I guarantee you it's not just alcohol. I guarantee you it's like sex. I guarantee you it's drugs, everything else. But
media, social media.
My advice is if you do not enjoy your job, then find something that is a lot more up your alley. And if you, like, let's say you want to run a business one day or this and that, find a place out there, because I guarantee you that it might be trying to find a needle in a haystack, but I guarantee you there's somebody out there who wants to train somebody so they eventually can take over their operations or start their own operation or business and go from there. Because a lot of these big timers, I won't really say big timers, but a lot of these business owners and everybody else, like farmers and so on and so forth, are getting older and older and older, because unfortunately the clock never stops until we're buried 6 feet deep.
I thought we were in the Matrix, bro. I just gotta break the Matrix, bro.
But
no, I'm kidding.
But that being said, is there's eventually somebody out there who is looking to eventually retire from what they have, and if you are interested in that, then I guarantee you, if they're looking to retire and they find you a good candidate, they will train you to take over their business, their operation, whatever you want to call it.
Anything else you'd like to add before we go into the closing statement, my good sir? My good sire? No?
No.
So my challenge to you this week is simple. Identify your change. What's holding you back? What's keeping you from living the life you truly want? Once you identify them, start working on breaking free. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
With that being said, is lately I've been getting a lot of Dave Ramsey TikToks being brought up.
Who's that?
You don't know who Dave Ramsey is? He's like a financial guru.
Make me act like I'm all stupid. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I know him.
Hey,
he said a lot of his stuff.
That's the other thing, is there are a lot of resources out there. Dave Ramsey is one of them. But there are a lot of resources out there that if you want to break your habits, you want to dig more into, like, say, religion, or dig more into business side of it. If you want to actually truly become free and break your chains, there's a lot of resources out there. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. I don't even care if it's a pastor you gotta reach out to, or a good friend. I mean, honestly, there's anybody out there. You can reach out to us if you want to. We probably got some resources we could throw your way. That's my take on I mean, that I wouldn't say that's my take, but that's kind of my exit or closing statement.
Oh, just question everything. That's what I do. That's literally what I've been doing the last couple weeks, is just questioning literally everything.
And that's a good thing, is like, question, don't get fall don't how do I want to word it? Don't fall into the media trap.
Yeah, don't believe everything you see.
Exactly. Don't be gullible.
Yep.
I will tell you, I'm not gullible, but if I...
Hey, look over there.
Cool. Oh, sorry. Had to.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, some people call me gullible, but I also understand the resource that it's coming from, and if it's a trusted resource, I have a habit of taking a trusted resource for granted and not actually looking into the actual information myself. So I will be honest there. So if you want to call me gullible because I trust my resource, I will take that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, is like Isaiah was saying, is don't just take your resource for granted. Actually do some digging. Push the borders of that box.
Yeah.
But I will also warn you from past experiences, pushing those borders of a box can lead to very interesting and not so fun conversations.
As you stand, just fight for your rights.
Fight for your right to party.
Yeah. So thank you for tuning into the Fruitful Three Show. I hope this episode has given you something to think about. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe, like, share, and leave a review. Until next time, remember, the only chains that bind us are the ones that you allow to remain. And stay fruitful, peace, love, happiness, and unity.
And rock on.